Good afternoon. This is Ron Mickens. Fraud upon the court. The truth is in the detail. Fraud upon the court is synonymous, or it is the same thing as being Willie Lynch. We were treated like we were absolutely nothing. We were treated like we were less than 3/5 human. We were deprived of all of our constitutional rights. Matter of fact, any right that we thought that we might have. And we were set up to be murdered by a sheriff's SWAT team. Stay with me. God is law, and law is God. Man is God, and God is man. Stay with me. The experience and shrewdness of professional judges, lawyers, bureaucrats, politicians, law enforcement officers keep their dishonesties, irrationalities, criminalities, tortious acts well camouflaged and disguised. They are not leaders. Leaders is an illusion. It's an illusion. The only true or real kind of leader is a self-leader. We have to learn to see through their illusions. And so this is what this video is all about today, is clearing your mind so you will be able to see through their lies, see through their illusions. Public schools and university teachers, professors, for the most part, they what? They indoctrinate, they stagnate, but they do not educate. They have enslaved our mind, especially our children. They have used mysticism to conjure up, to trump up a Jesus Christ and a fraudulent, false, flawed, tampered with Holy Bible, King James version of the Bible. So what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to stay with me. King James version of the Bible approved, and they what? They sanction slavery. King James was pro-slavery. He authorized in the Bible our enslavement. So stay with me. Jesus, the Jew, was a teacher and a self-leader. He was anti-religious. He was anti-government. He was anti-authority. Jesus, the Jew, taught that conscious man/woman or the conscious individual was the highest value in the universe. That is the only kind of leader was a self-leader. Jesus Christ was a self-leader. You can only lead yourself. Now, 300 years after Jesus the Jew died, the government conjured up, trumped up Jesus Christ and tampered with the Bible to control African people and to keep the black man down. You got to understand that black means nothing, that you are nothing. So stay with me. In essence, King James, who was absolutely pro-slavery, a racist if you ever saw one, and his writers created this trumped up, conjured up Jesus Christ and fraudulently tampered with the Bible to Willie Lynch African people for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Stay with me. Knowledge is infinite, not finite. The Bible has been finite knowledge to keep our minds enslaved, to stop our minds from growing, and to indoctrinate, but not to educate. King James and his writers tampered with the Bible by inserting dishonesties, irrationalities, and mysticism to limit our knowledge, to stagnate our knowledge. Knowledge is what? Is wide scope. It's broad, okay? It is limitless, not limited. It is limitless. This knowledge publicly reveals the automatic mechanism for judges, lawyers, politicians, bureaucrats, law enforcement officers, and purported Christian leaders, dishonesties and irrationalities. Our scope is narrowed. They narrowed our scope of knowledge. Okay? It must be wide. We must remove the gap, the ceiling from our brain. We must remove the disease of mysticism. Jesus Christ did not walk on water. He did not turn water into wine. He did not heal the sick. He did not feed a multitude of people with a few fish and a loaf of bread. He did not die on Calvary. He did not rise from the dead on Easter Sunday. He did not ascend to heaven. Okay. He did not rise on Easter Sunday. Christmas and Easter are just exploited fake holidays so they can take advantage of the masses financially. Okay? Fraud vitiates everything. When you integrate facts with fraud, all you can get is fraud. We must remove the disease of mysticism from our brain / mind. Jesus Christ is not coming to fight our battles. What? That's a trick. Give it to God. You know, that's what we always say. Just rely on Jesus. He'll take care of all of our problems. Ladies and gentlemen, your problems is not going to get solved unless you use your conscious mind and solve them. Okay? I'm going to give you an example. Judge Moore, she wrote almost a 5-page order of findings of facts and conclusions of law in our favor. But she used this one big lie. You call it a non sequitur to deprive us of everything. She reduced us to absolutely nothing. She turned around and used this non sequitur and said, this is what Ron and Gloria Mickens desired. This is what they saw. This is one fraudulent misrepresentation turned a 5-page findings of facts and conclusions in law into one big old paper of fraud. That is what? The epitome of Willie lynching African people. Okay? Media dishonesties, intellectual, educational dishonesty, religious purported leaders, judges, lawyers, politicians, bureaucrats, and law enforcement officers has created a Pericles and Plato anti-civilization or an uncivilized society. They have harmed everyone on earth for 2,300 years. They are now being exposed. They are being undermined and eventually will vanish. This anti-civilization, this uncivilized society, we must move into the civilization of the universe. And we do that by requiring them to follow the Constitution. But we got to first know our constitutional, God-given, inalienable rights. So stay with me. Through their automatic lies, fake compassion, and smooth-selling fraud, forced back agents, they have been caught in a matrix of lies, and they cannot get out of it. They are vested in this anti-civilization, and this anti-civilization is uncurable. Honest, value-producing lawyers do exist, but today, far too many lawyers live through destructive dishonesties, empowered by forced back subjected political agenda laws. Such bogus, self-serving laws, as fake laws, are made by lawyers, for lawyers, and backed by the rapidly destructive Association of Trial Lawyers of America. Lawyer laws are hidden sewage, if you know what I mean. What are we talking about? We're talking about reality versus anti-reality. Okay? Reality versus fiction. We're talking about Jesus the Jew versus Jesus the Christian, the conjured up, trumped up King James version of the Bible and his trumped up Jesus. Untempered Bible versus the King James Willie Lynch Bible. His Bible authorized slavery. He was a racist to the highest degree. We're talking about the producer versus the parasites. That's the politicians and the bureaucrats, the judges and the lawyers. We're talking about the point law versus a point law. We're talking about natural law versus political agenda law. Value producers versus value destroyers. Contextual facts versus non-contextual facts. Stay with me, okay? We're talking about secateurs versus non-secateurs. Accuracies versus inaccuracies. Problem solving versus problem making. We're talking about life versus death. Real world versus the anti-civilization. Real world versus the fictional world. Reality enables us to be happy, prosperous, and to become the person we were meant to be, and to live the life we were meant to live. The King James Bible and the trumped up, conjured up mystic Jesus Christ has been the main trick implemented to put our minds in a box, to put a finite ceiling on our brain/thinking, to make us submissive, to depend on the slave owner for everything, to love and trust only the slave master more than we trust and love ourselves, to trust what? Only them, and to trust us or one another, and to envy one another. They got us false believing that judges, lawyers, politicians, bureaucrats, and experienced law enforcement officers are leaders, when in reality they are camouflage, disguised criminals, and tort feasors. My video, as you know, previous videos from 1 through 29 proves 100% that the judges, lawyers, politicians, bureaucrats, experienced law enforcement officers are criminals and tort feasors. The Constitution also proves that they are criminals and tort feasors. And clearly, the Constitution of the universe, that is our inalienable constitutional rights. That's where our Constitution comes from. So, the Constitution of the universe and our Constitution is the game changer. It is our problem solver, our solution, revelation, manifestation. It's our paradigm shift. It's our epiphany. It's our revolution. It is what? time for a change. All we need to do is to require the president, the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and our local law enforcement officers and congressmen and senators is to enforce what we already have, the Constitution, not some conjured up, subjected political agenda laws. That is fake, fraudulent, fictional laws. We've been bamboozled, run amok, led astray, hoodwinked, duped, gone. We've been willy lynched. It is time for a change. Okay? So you gotta hang in there with me, because I'm coming at you. I'm coming. This is new knowledge. It's going to remove this mysticism from our mind and from our brain. It's going to make us healthier mentally. We're going to be able to see through the illusion. We're going to be able to determine between real and fiction. So stay with me. Now, I need you to wake up. Wake up. COVID-19 is psychological preparation for the new digital capitalism, currency, Bitcoin, and blockchain. The digitalists, they have taken over. The rich are getting rich, richer, and the poor is getting poor. The only way that we can solve this problem is that we make them or require them to enforce our constitutional rights. Okay, that is the game changer. It keeps us all on a level playing field. Think about it. When you got real God's law on your side, you cannot be defeated. That is life. We all should be prosperous. Our minds is not limited. It is limitless. Knowledge is not limited. It's limitless. So stay with me. In the words of Adam B. Wells, the way you correct wrongs is to shine the light of truth upon them. Okay, so I want you to stay with me, because on the next video, I'm going to take one specific constitutional rights, and we're going to bring it home. We're going to bring it home for you. I'm going to break it down so you'll get it. So stay with me. But subscribers, oh, I need your help. Hey, we got to get that Constitution of the universe distributed to every person, especially our people, this information, because we are being lynched, we are being jailed, imprisoned, and killed every second, every moment, every hour, and every day, because we don't know our God-given constitutional right. We have allowed these people to use this fake, subjective law, this ego justice, too long, and we hadn't been able to detect it. So stay with me, because I'll be back. Talk to you later.